And welcome back. Lawless Brothers Radio podcast. Now, we have a bit of a surprise here. We have the first ever guest. We are using clout at a whole different level. We've had crossovers like Freddy versus Jason. We've had Sweet Life of Zach and Cody with Hannah Montana. Never before seen on the Lawless Brothers Radio show. Big welcome to Jolie Lawless. Woo! What's
Welcome to the show, Joel.
going on?
Wonderful to be
You
here.
know, I was first off, congratulations. We were filming from, I'm visiting home for a week. That's why we are in separate places, and we're visiting Jolie's new, beautiful house. Her fiance just bought a house. How's it feel to
Unreal.
be a house owner?
It feels crazy because people aren't buying houses right now, but we did. Feels good. It feels very peaceful.
Nice.
I'll say.
That's good to say.
Got a
That's
lot
good to
going
hear.
on, but it's still peaceful.
Dude,
Is it weird to be talking to the microphone right now?
No, I'm not like a natural.
Oh,
so
I'm natural.
don't worry
Natural.
about to say, she's looking cool as hell with the AirPod Pro Maxes. And we got...
I do have 2 cats, just for the people at home. So there's gonna be some noises and some creatures around, just so everyone's aware.
We do have some cats causing disarray. Ryan and I definitely have had a few, questions for you. I think the biggest thing is, what do you think was your most experience growing up with 2 brothers? And what was probably the most annoying or crazy shit, or maybe lovable shit we got into?
I'm just getting into it already.
That's how, that's how we do it
Straight
here.
in.
Well, for some context, I don't know how much has been said, but I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
So Ryan's
Yes.
the oldest, I'm the middle, and then Casey's the youngest, but our age gaps are very small.
Mhm.
Like
Yes.
a year and a half-ish in
There's
between.
a 3-week period where we are
All like one
All
in a
in
row.
a
27,
row,
28,
yeah.
29,
Right,
you know?
correct. So growing up with 2 brothers that I was very close in age to, I think was cool because it wasn't like, I have like this older brother or I have like this little like annoying younger brother. Like we were all the same kind of.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful at how close in age we are because I think that definitely helped when we got older.
Yeah.
Like being closer, I think maybe when we were younger, it, like butt heads, but we only kind of butt heads in the way that like when we wanted to do the same things at the same time. Like we only had one computer and the computer.
Yeah.
Give me the controller.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The,
give me
the computer room.
one computer. But I think that was also cool because we were always together when we were younger, so like we developed a lot of the same interests. Which I mean, I think like music taste, video,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I play video games, like
Yeah.
that's like because of you guys. So like I'm glad that happened. I think if I had sisters instead, I don't think I would have. I don't know. I mean, you never know. True.
Do you
'Cause,
wish
like,
you had a sister?
No.
No?
Ooh,
No.
okay.
I think that it was cool for me to be the only girl. I mean, we did have stepsisters for a stint of time.
For sure.
But that's different, because it's not like
It's not blood. It's just
it's
different,
not
you know?
blood and it's not like forced upon you all the time. Like there's like a little bit of an escape there, I
Okay.
guess, to it. But
Yeah, we
for
were
me
stuck
being
with each other.
being the only
100%.
girl, even though we were so similar, I feel like I was able to like develop my own identity and my own interests, like maybe differently than it was like between the 2 of you.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know?
I mean, you did dance for a while, which is,
I did.
it's kind of like, I was actually thinking about like what questions I ask you, and you kind of like forget about that a little bit, but like you were in dance for how long?
13 years.
13
Dude,
years.
That is a long time.
Ages like 2 or 3 to 16-ish.
2 or 3 to 6. That's actually
Yeah.
the craziest thing. Like,
That is a
kids are
long time.
getting put into like any sort of
Yeah, but I
activities,
mean,
like-
it's different for our family because at least on our mom's side, everybody dances. Like all
Right.
our cousins dance and stuff. So like,
Right.
it's just like what you did.
It's part of the,
It's part of the experience.
How about that?
Mhm.
Barbarian experience.
But we liked it. It was fun.
100%. I would say probably the biggest thing is you kind of touched on a little bit. You said you wouldn't want a sister, especially with the way that you grew up. What would you say would be the thing that you think maybe you missed the most out on if you had sisters growing up? Or would you say how many women are in our family? You kind of felt like you had them anyway.
Yeah, I don't really think I missed out on anything. Like, nothing positive. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, but like,
Sure.
when I'm thinking about like growing up when I'm younger, like I don't want nobody stole my clothes or anything. That's kind of
Ooh,
cool.
There you go.
But I also think that I was blessed in that I was able to develop a lot of female friendships when I was younger.
Yeah. I mean, we were around a lot of women. We were basically raised by women. You talk about family parties, it's just just a bunch of loud aunts, you know,
and
talking.
Like,
so.
You know, dance. Like, I have girl cousins that are close to my age. Like, one of my best friends I've been friends with since I was like 7. You know, Taylor. So like, she's kind of like a sister.
How about that?
So I just like it. Twin. It was nice because my twin. It was nice because I was able to like pick and choose that kind of like female relationship.
Okay.
You know,
I think it's like like, do you think something I want to talk about is like school, and like we talked a little bit. You were talking yesterday, and me and Casey have talked about this before. How we lived 10 feet away from each other, but we had drastically different experiences, and like specifically in school. You know, in one of the episodes I talk about like my experience in Gifted and how that kind of paved the way for him, and like what kind of, and you as well, but like, you know, the things that teachers would put upon him and things of that nature. You know, what was your experience in Gifted, and follow up afterwards? Like, would you put your kids through Gifted if they were chosen? Like, you know, wow, Jesus Christ! If
chosen,
well, that's fucking as fucked up as it is. That's really what it is. They're just like, hey, your kid's really good at reading books when you're 5. Do you want to put him in this class? So.
I think. Well, there's a couple things that go into that. I mean, one, Gifted. I feel like Gifted now as a program is like pretty widely criticized by like the children who were in Gifted. Like, no, I don't think anybody comes out of it and it's like, yeah, that was really good for me. You know, like, I guess if you like, I mean, whatever, to each their own. But my experience in Gifted was different. I think I was probably not only evaluated for Gifted, but largely evaluated for it because you were in it. And then, like, to clarify, when you're in elementary school, it's called special interest program, where you get like pulled out, so you just like go do fun stuff, and then it doesn't turn into like a full-time thing until later years. But talking about like what you and Casey had talked about with like comparison among the 3 of us, like mine was more like, oh, you're Ryan Lawless' sister, like, wow, you're so much better than him, you know? Which
there it is.
True.
Classic.
But like in terms of like behavior, right? School came very easily to me. Like, I didn't really have to try that hard. Not in like I didn't want to try hard. I didn't have to try hard, and I also enjoyed school. So that, I was lucky about that. And then like being in Gifted, I like a lot of my friendships in school were through Gifted, but then I think being close with like Taylor and like my other friends who weren't in Gifted, I was able to like be friends with a lot of different kind of people, so I didn't feel quite as isolated as I know Gifted can make people feel. But I think in the future, if my children are in school where there is a Gifted program, absolutely not. Because for me, and I think you agreed with this too, is like it taught you how to not care about school, because at the end of the day, you were already in a different class than other people. So, like, it was kind of like, you can do this if you want to, but, like, we already know that you're good, you know? Which is not, it's not productive. I think it's not, like...
Dude, it's also not fair to people that are not in this class.
Of course
it's like,
not
it's the most
fair.
weird, like,
That's
thing
like,
ever.
You know, like...
I feel like...
I think there's nothing to gain from separating children in that way.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably like an incredibly like isolating experience, especially to like your other friends. You know what I mean? Like, because I know that
that's true.
Like in Gifted, like you were in like literally different classrooms. You didn't take like the same math, English. Like
you're also, the design of it is that you're in the same classes all day long with the same 12 kids, and the common denominator that's set by the school is that you're smarter than everybody else. So, like, you just have a bunch of little assholes, basically, saying, like, we're the best, so, like, F you guys, you know, like, and, like, then that isn't great either, because even then within your own little thing, you know, little cliques happen and, like, blah, 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 and it's just, like, tenfold, because you guys already think that you're better than everyone else.
Dude, and it like doesn't translate to real life too, right? When you get out into the world and like when you go to, you go to wherever you go and interact with people,
nobody
they
cares.
don't know, they don't care, they don't give a fuck if you were, like in this thing.
Nobody cares, and also I think the kind of smart, quote unquote smart, that you are to being gifted is just not widely applicable to a lot of things. Like, we did like logic things and like project based things, which is like all well and fine. I think you do kind of like, you learn how to work with people, but not in a way that like is more interesting, I think, than anything else,
Yeah, you just get good at getting stuff done. Like, you're just not in projects.
And it really just, it allowed me to slack off. It allowed me to procrastinate.
But you didn't, though. Like, I would say if there's a difference, right? Talk about, like, I was in it and I did not care. You, and we transitioned to this, like, talk about, like, you are smart, but you also did try. So whether you say you procrastinated or not, like, you did try, and you're the only one out of us three with a college degree.
Yeah.
True.
That's the biggest thing.
And for a while, you were the only person in our family, right? Am I making that up right now? You're the only person in our family with a college degree for a little bit.
I think that is
extended.
Still true.
Still true.
Besides our dad's side.
And not in but so it's interesting because like
no,
like, that
not
is
anymore.
Like,
duh.
Rachel.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like and like that's like pushed upon everyone, right? So like you are you want to go through that. Like you went to if you care, you went to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
What's life like in Pittsburgh? How was college across the state?
College was fire. I would say I'm going to take that back. Pittsburgh is fire. Actually attending Pitt was like all well and fine. I don't think there was anything like particularly amazing about the school itself that like would have kept me there. But like the location of the school where you are in Oakland and like Pittsburgh as a city is definitely a very cool place. I miss it a lot. But like you could like the school structure, you could pick up Temple and put it there. It doesn't matter, you know? Like I don't think there was anything particularly special about Pitt that made it a better school than anything else.
Got you.
But college was fun.
Would you live there?
In Pittsburgh?
Sorry.
I would live in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I would. I was very grateful to have like the traditional 4-year experience. I don't think that that's very important, and I wouldn't push that upon my children if it were to come to that. I think that like honestly, if I could do it again, I would have gone to community college for 2 years and then hopefully ended up in Pittsburgh. But what I liked about college was being there, not necessarily being in college there.
Gotcha.
It's also just ridiculously expensive, so.
What do you think like were some experiences at Pitt rather that, we might not have ever been told about or know about, and like how do you think they've like shaped you to who you are today? I mean, whether that be like living with a roommate or like how like what it came to, like whether it be nightlife,
for sure.
Like what do you think was something that maybe Ryan and I don't know that you still kind of carry with you today?
My freshman year roommate and I didn't get along so great. She was a nice girl, but we really did not vibe well. And I think part of that was she was just more introverted than I am. So like that was a lot of the tension there, was like I seemed to have friends and she didn't. But also like making friends in school wasn't particularly easy for me. Like, I definitely like stuck to what I know for the most part, what I knew. So I didn't like super branch out with like a lot of like the girls on my floor. I also lived in an all girls dorm my freshman year, so like I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but girls are crazy, so.
Like you didn't pick up any new hobbies or anything like that?
No, but I think that like I did. Like I mean, Pitt kind of your freshman year definitely does a good job of like forcing that upon you, that you have to go out and do stuff, which was nice, and like we had a lot of events and stuff like that. My sophomore year, I lived with one of my best friends and then 2 other girls that also didn't go very well. Obviously, I'm still close to Steph, but like the 2 other girls, the one girl I'm just not close with anymore, which is unfortunate, but the other girl like actually hated us. She would like do I'm just gonna tell, like I'm not gonna say her name, but
she would like
do things that were just blatantly disrespectful.
Okay.
Like, my one roommate's mom came to visit for the weekend. The girl that I'm talking about, who was not so nice, smokes a lot of weed, which is like pop off, like
Sure.
not a problem for me at all.
Been around that.
My one friend's mom was coming to visit, and so we were like, hey, could you just like not smoke weed in the apartment like this one day? And she was like, bet. And then lit up for hours in her room. Like,
it's a typical stoner, bro. She just forgot, bro.
She forgot, and that is exactly what she said. She
Classic.
also would like make a lot of seafood, which again, like, I just don't happen to eat seafood, but I don't eat whatever you want. I don't care. And then she would like leave like rotting fish in the kitchen, and then we'd be like, hey, can you not do that? And then she called us racist. So you know, like, you really do experience a lot of different kind of people, and it kind of went, like, what it showed me is that you really don't know somebody until you live with them.
1000%.
And because I really thought she was going to be super cool, and I felt like I tried really hard to, like, bridge some gaps between us, and she just was not super receptive, which is, you know, it's fine, to each their own, but I think something that I come back to a lot in experiences like that is it's so interesting to see how differently people were raised than us. Yeah. And
1,000.
I think something that happens between the three of us is that, like, we think that we're the only normal people in the world, but it's just because we're the same person, you know?
Probably.
So I definitely broadened my horizons a little bit with that, but then I do still think that we are the only normal people.
Yeah, it's hard not to think that way, especially with you know, what we're all doing in life. Wish I could be there with you guys. We kind of touched on this earlier. You know, you not having any sisters, having brothers. We were basically raised by women. I mean, dude, like being surrounded by the insane Italian, you know, fiery meatballs that we were surrounded by our whole life. How do you think that you know, what are your takeaways on, you know, our upbringing and maybe why we think we're so normal
that we were raised
and the rest of the world is insane?
That.
Yeah.
I would say specifically, you know, referring to like our mom's side, like we are. I think that's something I learned a lot from our extended family is like emotional expression. I think that we, you know, didn't really have to hide how we felt from about things. I don't think so. I think there's more isolated experiences where we did have to do that, but I definitely like never felt unsupported by our family.
That's a good point.
And like we were just very close, and it made me value like hosting things and like having people together a lot. Like we, you know,
I think it was more of like not that like your problems aren't isolated, but your problems and their problems is everyone's problems.
Everything is everybody else's problem, and everything is happening at the same time.
Yes, everything is amplified all at the same time.
Yeah, it's kind of just like almost like an echo in that way.
For sure,
I guess.
For sure. Not that you mentioned like the saying like, oh, like we're the normal ones or whatever, and you're like everyone's insane. Well, you know what the funny thing is like, because I have lived in a lot of different places now, dude, and I've talked to like some of my coworkers about this. Talk about how like, oh, like we're the normal ones and like they're insane. Well, it's like, you know what the funniest thing is like I think everyone's insane. And everyone likes to say, like, Casey, you know, you were just like, oh, like my fiery Italian aunts, were the cases, and they're like, oh, my, you know, my loud Mexican family, or like this, you know, whatever, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, dude, no, actually, everyone's fucking same, okay, and we're all crazy, and
it's
like,
all
it's
the
not,
same,
it's
different.
But there's different like material, right? Different food. You're leaving different kind of stuff in this, and now you're getting called racist or whatever. But I think it is funny how similar it is. You know, and even like, bro, just, you know, the fact when I was over, and we don't talk about this a lot, but like watching like Denise and her mom argue with each other about stuff, and I was like, dude, this is the same. Like it's completely different culture, but like the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, when you're speaking a different language, like whether it be Turkish or like whatever, you just immediately sound like you're yelling at each other. And then we ask them what happened after. They're like, oh, we were talking about laundry detergent, but it sounded like they were at each other's throats. You know what I mean? So like it's just funny how we all are a lot more alike than we think we are, and I think that that's probably a good call.
Just cool, man.
Ra, you threw this question in there, and I know that Joel might have a fun one for this. I don't know if you showed her any of these. I hope not. Joel, did you feel pressure to be the family therapist?
Oh.
You're a psych major.
Yeah, let's talk
Yeah.
background, right? Yeah, she went to the University of Pitt.
Psychology major.
Yeah, I went to school for psychology and neuroscience. My original plan, which has changed as it does, was to go back to school for clinical psychology. So it's definitely like what I'm most interested in. It's what I worked in for the longest time when I was in school.
Right.
In terms of being the family therapist, like, yes, I don't think there was known pressure. I don't think that the people in our family realized what was happening. It does feel like it just naturally occurred that way. And maybe that's me by being naive about it, but like, I think that for my standpoint, we all had a lot going on.
Sure.
And that's something that we've talked about, is that living in the same house, we had very separate lives. And I think that something that happened a lot was everybody separately would come to me about something, because I maintained a very neutral position a lot of the time.
Okay.
I also didn't let on if I had other things going on, I think, as much as other people in our family. So that kept me in my neutral position. Like, oh, like, she can handle it. Like, I don't know. I guess I did feel pressured, but not like a bad pressure. I mean, I'm dealing with that in therapy now, but not a pointedly bad pressure from you guys or like our mom or dad.
Yeah, I think people naturally just come, like, you are naturally attracted to who you're attracted to, whether like for those kinds of things, right? You're like, oh, like, it's in the same way that we all can relate to this too. I talk to some person for the first time, they just start telling me their whole life story, and I'm like,
yes,
all right, John, nice to meet you, dude. Whatever the situation is. So I think like people just like naturally gravitate, and that you probably just, people would naturally gravitate towards you for that, and then but that also then turns into like fuck, why is everyone coming to me about this, right? I would assume that probably probably can happen.
Definitely. I think that also people can have their own opinions on this, but being the only girl definitely like kind of slaps that label on you no matter what originally. And I think that being the only girl with my mom, our mom, like, she definitely confided in me about certain things, and like that she wasn't sharing with the class,
for sure.
So we had like a very close relationship that way, and I think that maybe sometimes a little bit too close, and that I probably had more information about things than I should have.
Like about mom?
Like about mom, about her,
especially
mom,
probably at a younger age. You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest thing too.
I think Case, I gotta get one off of this. It's not something we've written down, but you talk about like mom's great in what she's done for us, like on that emotional intelligence side of things, nature. I think something that we definitely can never have this conversation about would be like, what is it like? The mom-daughter relationship is such an interesting relationship because like there's a lot going on, man. Sometimes there's jealousy, sometimes and whatever's happening there. So like, what is do you feel similar? Like, do you ever catch yourself, I guess, because all right, here's another way to explain it. Like, me and Casey can argue because we are brothers and we do have the same brain, right? So sometimes when you get that moment of like frustration, it's like because we're probably thinking the same thing or whatever the case is. So as the only daughter of our mom, or like, do you feel like you're in her head, she might be in your head, and like what does that look like?
Yeah, definitely. I think that something that I tend to do, and I think that this probably extends to most women, but like we think a lot about our thinking.
Okay.
And so before I think about how I would feel about something, I'm thinking about how mom would feel about something.
Okay.
And I think that does make us very similar in a lot of ways, but like, I'm already thinking about how she's going to feel about how I'm doing something or things like that. So it's almost like you can kind of trip over that, right? And I think that happens frequently between us. It always has. Like, we're both, I don't know what the word is, maybe like overanalyzing, I guess. But I think mom and I are very similar. I think that our differences are good. the differences that we do have are good. But I don't know. I guess being the only girl with her, yeah, like same kind of thing. Like there's like you know, not that you guys wouldn't have been this for her also, but there's like an added layer of like a safe spaceness between us.
Yeah.
But that can put a lot of pressure.
I think it's natural.
too.
I mean, men and women are different, right? You're gonna talk about things that like we wouldn't talk to you about, and vice versa. And like, I think that's like a funny thing too. Where you said like you're thinking about what she's thinking about, how she's gonna react, and blah blah blah. And then like, I think it's like another, you know, like that's a difference between like women are really good about like analyzing and like thinking about this stuff, and I think we are better at like doing stuff.
Yeah.
And like that is why the synergy needs to be there, right? Because you know that's when you talk about all the, you know, women in our family, and like these, you can see these storms of emotions happen and stuff, and it's all love and it's a lot of fun. But I think that, you know, if there was something missing, that is the like the mediator of it all, which is probably what you had to play, right? Which is like a crazy thing.
That was like something that was very important to me, like growing up, and even still now, but like maintaining a kind of like balance and definitely mediating, especially just even between the three of us. Like, we're all the same exact person, but you two especially, in the way that you're similar, feeling like,
dude, even when we sit down on that couch sitting next to each other, I'm like, bro, the mannerisms are the same. It's hilarious.
Everything's
hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, on top of that too, Joel, I would definitely think that, like, I think we probably all felt like this at one point, where we always feel like people are always coming to us, and sometimes we kind of wish that, you know, we had someone, you know, to, like, it'd be nice if I could like lay my, you know, like problems on someone as opposed to like everyone coming to me. And I'm sure that you probably felt that more than any of us. Especially like, dude, like we were probably knowing stuff about our family at like 12, 13, 14 years old that we had no business knowing. But, you know, I mean, maybe, you know, I'm alone in this, but I think we all had the sentiment that we all had to grow up pretty quick, no? Like, you know what I mean? We all had to, like, you know, like, figure out stuff for ourselves. And I think that's, you know, kind of a good segue into this next question. Like, other than how close we were in age, because I think that's the biggest, you know, part of this, about how close we've been able to be, what do you think, personally, that, like, has separated us to other maybe sibling family dynamics that has kept the three of us so close? As I'm sure that you know and I know, there's so many people that I know are like, oh, I don't talk to my brother, I don't talk to my sister. Like, what do you think has kind of been the differentiator, you know, between the three of us versus a lot of others?
I think that's something that has always been true for us, and I don't know, maybe like unknowingly so, is that we're very open and honest and communicate well with each other.
Yeah.
I think that me especially, but none of us have a problem telling the other one what we think they're doing is wrong, or criticizing, or, I mean, not criticizing in like a just making fun way, but in a like, hey, I really don't think, you know, you should be doing that, or, you know, I'm really proud of you for doing this, or whatever it may be. We never really kept secrets from each other.
Yeah.
You know, like, and if we found out something was a secret later, it like wasn't a huge deal.
Okay, like, you mean like secrets, not that I'm some grand thing, but like not like towards each other. Like, I wasn't like, you know, not like, oh, I did this shit to Casey and I'm gonna tell you, like, what kind of, like, because
kind of, or like we never, to my understanding, like, I never wanted you guys to not be involved in something in my life. Like, I never had any problems with you knowing what was going on.
Okay.
And I think that was helpful. I also think that we, you know, had a lot going on between like our parents and all that kind of stuff that definitely like glued us a little bit more closely together. Especially just because you never know what's going on in somebody's home, and the three of us were in the same home and we knew what was going on, but like that, you know, that held us together too, compared to like the rest, you know, what we were showing to the rest of the world or whatever it may be. So, but like, I think that we've always had open lines of communication. Whether we were utilizing those all the time is different, but I think I never felt closed off from one of you ever.
Yeah. No, I think, you know, I think like that's, well, like there's some blackout periods, like me and Casey talked about, like, you know, those years from like, dude, honestly, like 20, you know, maybe like 2013 or like 2016, 2017, like, I was like, we were always close, or like we always had a good relationship, but there was definitely times where I had no idea what was going on with either of you, and that was because I don't know what the hell was going on with me, right? So I think like there's times where, and that's kind of the whole point of this doing what we're doing right now is, you know, telling Casey like, dude, we live an hour away, we're like across the world, like, you know, we're super close, but we don't do this, and like why shouldn't we, right?
Well, I think that because we always have been so close, something that I value a lot in like my personal relationships, especially with you guys, is that like we don't need to talk every day.
Fair.
You know?
Yeah,
fair.
That's a good point.
We're all very, I think we're thoughtful in the way that we maintain our relationships with each other and like intentional about it. I don't feel like I would never be, even if we went like 2 weeks without talking, like I wouldn't be like, oh my god, Casey's mad at me or Ryan's mad at me. It never feels that way. And I think during the years that you're talking about, like that's, you know, like while the bulk of us were in high school during that time, like we truly just had a lot going on. Like, you know, you had gaming stuff. Like I was working a lot. We were all working a lot. I think that our, you know, it wasn't on purpose or anything, but we just truly like didn't have the time around each other. Like, you know, I would go to school, come home, change, go to work. You guys would do the same thing, you know? We're kind of just like roommates at that point. But it wasn't for like lack of wanting relationships with each other. We just truly like didn't have the bandwidth, I think.
Do you think
the energy stays the same?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so really now, please shoot after this, but the energy stays the same, right? Like if you were here right now, Casey, one of the coolest things about the fact that we're in this house, and I told you this morning, is, Casey, I saw the house for the first time 2 days ago, and I'm like, dude, this feels so normal, and it's like kind of weird. It's weird how normal it is, you know what I mean? And that's that's a testament to just like the relationships and like energy that is present in this, you know, environment.
Dude, yeah, and that's like kind of perfectly what I was going to talk about. Do you think like another reason why maybe we all sort of kind of have like a bit of a blackout period at that time is just because of what our living situation was and like where, like, again, like Ryan and I have kind of talked about this a little bit in the last episode, but like, you know, like we weren't like like physically like abused or anything, you know, but do you think that like at the same time that maybe us kind of feeling like our cyclical lives of just school, work, homework, sleep, like were because of where we were raised in our adolescence, or do you think that that's just kind of was going to happen naturally anyway?
No, I think that's definitely a factor. I think that was something that I learned in college too, right? Was like my freshman year roommate and I didn't get along so well. My sophomore year I had problems as well. I didn't have like a positive, healthy living environment until my junior and senior year, and I think that's what made me realize how important your living environment is. Even if you think that like you know, I'm going to school, going to work, I'm just sleeping there, like not feeling that warmth kind of at home really matters. And I think that it was driving us out to be as busy as we were, you know, regardless of like that legit necessity that we needed to work. Like house versus a home, like I forget what else I'm saying, but
Work.
Do you have any regrets?
Oh, there you go.
What?
I'll talk like, how about this? And I'm not, man. We don't
in life in general.
Like life paths. For example, like I've explained before. My legit, all good, bad, and ugly. My only life regret is getting peer pressured into going to community college straight out of high school, because I think it fucked up my gaming thing. I really did. Yeah, definitely. And it was one of the only times where I was directly influenced and like told like I need to go do this, and I was like, if I didn't, who knows? I don't know. So like, is there any life choices, like going to Pitt versus going somewhere else, or like whatever?
I wouldn't say I regret that. I think if I had something close to a regret, is that just like unfortunate timing. I graduated in 2020, which is when the world ended.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I lost a lot of my momentum there, I think, because
probably not alone there.
Not finishing out my year, graduation like wasn't, you know, didn't really feel real. They didn't have a ceremony for us until I think 2 years later, which I didn't go to because I was just like over it at that point. But I think probably I only had so much choice in that because, again, the world was like truly shut down. But I think letting that kind of put out my fire as much as I did with like continuing like my research job and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. That's fair.
And I think in school I had the same job all 4 years that I was in school. I did undergraduate research, and I think maybe not diversifying that experience is probably something I could have done better, because I kind of like put all my eggs in one basket with like the person that was like my boss at the time, and like I think I like
should have taken other jobs, like,
maybe, or like just my plan before COVID happened was I was gonna continue living in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I didn't plan on coming right home after college, but we like truly got kicked out of school.
Yeah, came home for spring break, right? Everyone
came home for
spring
break. Spring break was extended. Then we never went back. The only time after that, really, that Steph and I, my roommate, went back to Pittsburgh was to move out of our apartment, which we had to move out of earlier than we were originally supposed to. Which that was just some like shitty landlord.
So it's just
stuff,
it's all not bad terms, right? It's like not, it should be exciting, like you're all
exactly,
like,
yeah. It was like, it just kind of like knocks the wind out of you a little bit.
Took the wind out of the sails.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that, I mean, don't get me wrong, our lockdown was fire.
Hey,
like, it truly was. Like, we were together all day long. And again, we're very close. So
talk about building a relationship though. Like, you think about that.
Dude,
like, if you try to like throw like silver lining for that, like that you come home to a house with us two, our mom and our grandmom, and it's a 4-bedroom house. So
I lived in the living room.
You lived in the living room, and it's like and so it's like now we are stuck with each other, and like that kind of forced the relationship too. We did some cool stuff,
we
like
did.
Dude,
puzzles, burning stuff.
A lot of puzzles. I remember getting La Hacienda and then watching Bo Burnham's special. What was it called?
Damn, dude, that sounds so good.
Dude, your memory is crazy, man. We talk the specific details of some of the things.
I mean, dude, like even when we set up her graduation, and then like, dude, we had the fucking like we were driving in the back of the car with like the boom box. We gotta play that. We're gonna roll that clip right here, but that was hilarious, dude. You want to talk about like drive-through graduations, just a bunch of fucking beep. I mean, the fucking neighborhood probably hated us, but like, it was hilarious. And it was raining. It was pouring rain. I was out of the. I don't remember if I was standing out of the sunroof or if I was just fucking basically standing outside of the passenger window. I forget what happened, but that was that was fun. That was a good time.
Dude, COVID was a trip, man. I'm trying to like, as we're talking, I'm trying to think about stuff that happened during the time, and I'm like,
I mean, nothing really could happen. We weren't allowed to do stuff.
We had Casey Day. We had
National Casey Day.
When we went to Philly with Eric, that was fun. You remember that, right? And we got ice cream, and then dude, there's pictures of us together with our masks on and stuff.
Yes.
That was fun.
How about that? And we went out the night before for your birthday. So
dude,
you were like the Casey turned 21 as like the
literally. Yeah,
I was there.
She was there.
Some arcades and shit.
That was fire.
That was the other weird thing about COVID, is that when that happened, which was March 13th, I had just gotten home from school the day before that, but everybody was already on spring break. I stayed in school. Like, I didn't go home immediately for spring break, and my job at the time was based out of Pittsburgh's like hospital network, UPMC. It's kind of like their pen thing. But we did fMRI research, so I had to like be the one to call all the participants and say like, hey, this isn't real anymore. Like, we can't do that because we physically weren't allowed to take up that space in the hospital anymore. It wasn't necessary. So it was like a very strange day, like having to participate in the communication of like, this is not going to continue anymore because the world's over. And then I came home and went to a bar, like it was just very like disillusioning, I think. Like, I don't know. But COVID was fun. We didn't have to do anything. We cashed out. We had a lot of money during that time and couldn't really do anything with it.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
I remember ordering from Chickies and Pete's. I don't know why. You were thinking of Lost. I remember the double fries, dude. Like the like they have like the brown sugar sweet potato fries, dude. And
yes.
then,
Now I do remember.
Yes.
Well, because at this point
like
we got obsessed with Dave Portnoy's One Bite reviews. So we were watching pizza reviews like every single day, and then I remember, I was an Uber Eats monster at this.
Chickie and Pete's? Oh, you're Uber Eats.
Oh, I was an Uber Eats monster, and
like, if they were ever going to go out of business, no, they weren't.
If Uber Eats has one customer, his name is Casey Lawless. But but what's it called? No, so at that time we were getting it was literally called pizza, cheese on the bottom, sauce on the top, pretty fire. And then the double fries situation, it was like the maple syrup dip with like the brown sugar fries. That shit was electric, bro. we were living different lives at that point. We had money to blow. Lots of food.
Dude, you remember, Case? Remember when COVID first happened and that guy, you were like walking a beater and you were in a cutoff and we were in like Target and that dude was like, yeah, you look like one of those guys who has COVID.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Oh no!
It was like
we were dude.
Like,
you want to talk about having a crazy memory? I don't know what you're talking about.
Dude, this was like month 1 of COVID. I think us 3 were at Target together, and you were rocking like.
We were at like a true grocery store. We were at like.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, we were at like ShopRite or something.
Okay, maybe. Yeah,
and it was in.
No, you're actually right.
It was like the checkout line.
Are we talking 2020?
Walking up to the checkout.
We're talking like prime COVID, dude.
So 2020,
like,
not 2021.
Mask, face shield.
Yeah, 2020.
Hazmat suit.
Yes,
dude. Because
and you were rocking like a muscle. Like you were rocking a.
But like, why, dude? Like, and I'm saying this. Why?
Look like you had COVID.
No, no. I mean, like, why? I want to know what I was thinking because like I did not even pick up a dumbbell until like December of 2020. So I'm fucking thinking in my head like, what kind of? I'm like, what kind of confidence was I rocking I'm like, what kind of confidence was I rocking a cutoff? And
I mean, you still had the fit on, Casey. You always had a fit on.
Oh well,
it was pre-gym. It was pre-gym for sure.
Had
100%. And because I remember the guy was like, "Scary man, you look like you were one of those guys with COVID." It was because you were just wearing like a cutoff, or maybe you were wearing a tank top and not a cutoff. But either way, dude, yeah.
Never been a tank top believer in the outdoor, but but that's
not true.
No, I mean
that is straight up not true.
If we're thinking what I don't know, when I think like white beat, I'm thinking
I can
like
picture the tank top right now. It was black. It was from PacSun.
Was it Ryan's?
Like the
California Republic. Oh, I could put that on right now. But I still got that, John. But anyway, that I didn't, dude. I don't remember that. What's another good fucking? Well, I want to ask, like one of my Ryan and I talk about this all the time, but like I think one of the coolest things that we ever got to do. I mean, shout out our extended family, but like mountains vacations every summer. Like to me, that's like one of my favorite memories of all time. It was like the one thing that we all really looked forward to, and a lot of people aren't gonna have this similar experience. We would have like 20, 30, fucking 40 people go up to this giant hunting cabin and all sleep, and we'd wake up with a fucking Mike's Hard Lemonade in our hand, and then at like 9 a.m. and then we'd probably go into bed at 4 a.m. playing quarters with Mike. So I just want to know like what great memories you have from that time, and like just like some of the cool shit we used to do.
Dude, let's lay the context of this case because you're hitting all the things, but no one knows who these people are. So you said Mike's Hard Lemonade, and then like because of who our mom is and her, extended network of humans. Casey, me and Jolie were actually at Mike and Linda's 2 nights ago, so we were talking to Mike and stuff like that. But so basically, like our mom's lifelong best friend, his aunt and uncle, right? They own some hunting land in the middle of Pennsylvania, like middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. So we got to do dude, we got to do basically, like you said, once a week, do whatever we wanted in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And
no cell service, which is like
no cell service, which was actually kind of blissful.
It was great.
I think y'all should tell the story.
The
Michael Myers story.
Dude, this is I mean, this is the greatest story of all time. Are you kidding me? I mean,
it's not.
So, all right. Well, it's so funny looking back on, and I apologize how traumatic this was for you at this time. Funny enough, horror fanatic. I think that this probably explained a lot of what my future would be.
Was this it? Is this like a trauma response? This thing has turned you into being a horror fan, do you think?
It's probably one of those things, man, where I just connect it with laughing. So who knows? Maybe that's why I'm so desensitized now, right? So, our uncle or Funkle Mike, he would always have this tradition of scaring the kids at some point in time during the week of the mountains trip. And this particular time, we were watching, I'm just kidding. Halloween H2O, and and if you are aware, at the end of the movie, there's a scene where Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Myers is like crushed against this van, against this like tree that's fallen over, and she fucking cuts dude's head off. And you know what I mean? The heroine wins, right? Here's the problem. Right as this happens, our Uncle Mike is downstairs.
Let me cut you off real quick. Let me cut you off right now. It's the scene. He's in the ambulance.
And he's in a body bag. And she's driving, and he unzips the body bag.
Yes, but that's the scene that leads up to this. So, this is all the...
Sorry about
it's all good. It's all the same scene. Yeah, you're good. That's why the van flips over anyway, because when Michael unzips it, and Jamie's like, oh, shit, and then fucking goes off the side of the road, and then flip, and then that's what happens. So, our Uncle Steve... So, I've gotten a little bit more insight on this story the last time I was home. Uncle Steve is downstairs by the generator. So they're like, I don't know if they're on walkie-talkie. I think they're on like she mentioned, no cell service. So they're on walkie-talkies. We're talking, this is 2004?
They're like Morse code.
Dude.
Yeah. 04, yeah.
So 04 sounds right. And Mike is on the deck in like a ghillie fucking suit kind of thing. Like if you were like go hunting, like, fucking like shrubbery type shit. He does love that. Yeah, real shit. And so Mike communicates with Steve to cut the power as soon as Lori is about to cut Michael's head off. Power cuts out, blacked out. We're in it's like the middle of the night. No, like, dude, we're talking no light pollution, no nothing. It's fucking pitch black in this house. It's pitch black outside. And all the kids just start fucking screaming. Our one cousin...
and all the cabin doors have been locked from
yes.
the outside.
Very smart. Our cousin...
Also, too, this is a big place.
It's, yeah.
Yes,
big
massive.
Place, middle of nowhere, pitch black. There's legitimate bears walking around.
Yes.
Okay, so,
Like, yeah, so our aunts and uncle, they were insane. And so our one cousin Ashley is fucking stepping on people's heads trying to get out of the fucking...
I'm going to take over the story from this point on, because as the star of the show in this prank, basically we're watching this movie, and Casey is 5.
Really?
So I'm not going to be that mad at him, but I was mad. Because Casey really wanted hot chocolate.
I
was like, okay.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest point of this.
All of all the children of the family are in the living room watching this movie. And I get up and I go to the kitchen by myself and I start making us hot chocolate. And while I'm in the kitchen is when the power cuts. And our kitchen table in that house, it's like a long wooden table, and on either side there's solid wood benches that are like, I don't know.
Like 8-10 feet long?
Yeah.
Long as shit.
So it's pitch black. I have boiling hot liquids, and our Uncle Mike, unbeknownst to me at the time, is picking up these wooden benches and slamming them on the ground. So the whole house is shaking. Nobody knows what's going on. We're assuming that like a grizzly bear, Bigfoot, I don't know, broke into the house and is going to murder us all.
Yes.
In the other room, everybody's screaming, losing their minds. Kids are getting trampled on. We're all trying to get out this back door. The back door also leads to a deck that is what?
10 feet. 10 feet off the ground.
10 feet off the ground. Maybe high. Maybe 15 feet.
The kids are trying to jump off the deck to escape this man. I'm in the kitchen, screaming bloody murder. And yeah, it was just like the worst, probably 47 seconds of my life.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great.
And the worst part is too, at least for you, but funniest part for me is I'm getting like pulled into. So in the game room is where we also have a door out to the deck, and I'm getting pulled into safety by. Honestly, I've said this before. I'm like 99% sure it was our cousin Brian's girlfriend at this time, who was not Maria. But every time I bring this up, Brian is convinced that he had no woman there. So I don't know who the fuck this random girl was, but whoever it was,
she wasn't real, bro.
Dude, I got my guardian angel pulls me into the game room next to the pool table, and it's just telling me everything's gonna be okay. And in the game room door, there's like a window. I watch this giant fucking figure walk into the kitchen, and I'm like, Joel's dead. It's over. It's over. We had a good run.
I truly was left for dead.
Yeah. Great video game.
Which I can't really be mad at a bunch of 13-year-olds for not thinking of me, but I was pissed at the time.
Yeah.
Understandably.
After the prank was revealed to be a prank and everybody calmed down. Sure. I didn't. It took me hours.
You know what one of the more fucked up things too about that is they told us that they had this, they didn't do it, but they had like a plan for like adults to be down at the fire, we had this like fire pit, or there's a fire pit there that is legit like probably 100 feet, a little more over 100 feet away from the thing.
Way far.
It's 100 feet more?
It's pretty far away from the deck.
It's like 40 yards away from the house.
I don't know, it's almost 100 feet. So, all right, we'll say 150 feet. We'll say 150 feet, right, away from the house. And there's this fire pit, and like they told us that like they didn't do this, but the plan was like to have other people that were not like actively scaring us, acting like they were dead down at the fire, so that we will go down there. Like,
dude,
this is the kind of things we were,
exposed to
as children, man. But dude, those, I mean, in case those could call it like those trips where you're in the middle of nowhere. And dude, it's like the first time I ever shot a gun. I would never have had shooting guns with that in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania.
Bro, when you were on the quad, you gotta tell that story.
Yeah, that's a good one, dude. I almost got murdered on a quad. So we had these people at these quads, and some people like we didn't own any quads, right? So the 4-wheelers, wherever you're from, 4-wheels, quads, right? ATVs, and some people would bring some up and we'd ride them around. It was a great time. But I was like at that age where like they weren't mine and I was too young, so I wasn't like riding them around, right? I was like, we hop on the back, whatever the case is. One kid, Blaze, that was there with us, we were riding quads and it's all just like uncharted land, dude. And he was fucking moving. And these up in those mountains, there's these like yellow triangle gates, basically. It's like a giant pole in the ground and then like a triangle, and it just swings to basically just just lock territory, like maybe just like yeah, that's a good one. Or like it's just it's just like a landmark, whatever, like this is where the area starts. Well, basically with 2 quads, it was me and Blaze, and I forget who, I think Brian had to be there because of what leads after this, and whoever was with him. But basically, dude, like, we're moving and Blaze is driving, and like he kind of, like, I feel like brakes locked. He started like skidding, and like, dude, like slow motion, like a fucking movie. We just skid, and just blast the shit out of this pole, and we'll like flip off of it. And then, dude, the reason why I know Brian was with this, I remember, like I said, it's like a triangle going like horizontally. Well, now the pole's so bent that the triangle is straight up in the sky and it's like hanging up. So he's like jumping and pulling this thing down. And then, and yeah, I feel like I definitely fucked my head up a little bit during that time. Probably got a concussion, whatever. So be it.
100%.
But we're alive. We're all good. And I don't think we're allowed to use quads anymore that weekend. I don't know.
Yeah.
Shout out Arthur.
Shout out Arthur and the Amazon man at the front door. He's gonna be okay.
Thanks, Jeff.
Those occasions were what a time, man. It's like every case we talk about, like, dude, those are some of the like most memorable things as a kid. Trips.
Dude, 1,000%. I mean, that's absolutely where I honed in my Guitar Hero skills. I'm sure there was there was a lot of a lot of pool sharking, a lot of foosball, a lot of pool, some card games. First time I ever played Kings was up the mountains. I remember starting Kings. I don't remember ending the game. I remember quarters.
Zoomy.
Ride the Zoomy. Fuck me up, dude. Every time I try to explain that game to someone, they think that I am the most, let's call it, festive guy in the room. You know what I mean? Like, I try to explain. Like, listen, if you just lock in and get a little drunk, this is gonna be so much fun. And everyone's like, dude, this is so fucking stupid. I'm explaining Zoomy really quickly. So listen, and I mean, listen, this is the episode for it, okay? So long story short, you got 6 drunk younglings at a table, and basically you're all banging on a table making a song, and it's just a simple fucking Zoomy, clap, fuck me up, bap. So my name's Casey, classic. So I'm Case, that's Rye, and that's Joel. So basically, the way this game works is I'm a pass it.
That also, for context, I think that this is a kind of a common game. It's just not always called Zoomy. But like that something like clappy clap game is like something that people do.
I have never met another person who I have attempted to speak to about this who has ever heard anything like this, and they all look at me like I'm
the only
like I'm psychotic.
Zoomy is why.
No, but even when I explained the gameplay, I explained the mechanics of the video game. They're not hearing me. They're not with it. But yeah, long story short, the song can get really fucking fast, and then I'll pass it to Joel passes it to Ryan, and then you just keep drinking. It's a good time. But I think it's a lot more interactive than something like Pong or like Flip Cup. A lot of Rage Cage. Yeah. Rage Cage up the mountain went hard. A lot of ping pong balls flying off the deck. Rage Cage?
What's Rage Cage?
Well, we might have also called it. I mean, we also played Chandelier. Chandelier's a banger, but Rage Cage is when there's like not 1,000, but like 30 cups on the table, right? You were definitely there. And it's like every cup has like a shot full of like beer or like just a normal drink, and then there's like a death cup in the middle, and then essentially you play you bounce the ball into the cup, and then it's sometimes called tits. And then Chandelier. So Chandelier, Joel, is just the amount of cups on the table is the amount of people that are playing. So if there's 6 people playing, there's 6 cups in a circle, and then death cup in the middle. That's a banger too. But basically a lot of stuff happened that dude, we're talking spike ball from 10 in the morning to fucking 4 p.m. getting consistently drunk, frisbee, one hand catch, dude, like just so many like
a true vacation,
dude. Like you want to talk about no cell service, another world, like. The entertainment that you have is what is truly around you, and you can't just like stick your head into your phone and crank up that screen time. Like there is just nothing better than actually like truly disconnecting. And I was fucking people up on Guitar Hero. Not gonna lie, what was happening? But Joel, I did. We could be wrapping up here soon. I did have a couple silly ones. That I wanted to,
what are your silly ones?
That I want to get at you. First question: if you could teleport back to one moment from our childhood, what would it be, and would you bring us along?
Teleport back. Honestly, well, you guys would be there. I feel like no matter what.
Okay.
But you can come if you want.
Okay, cool.
I would say like our first house and like in the basement, like playing like games and stuff together. Like I always think about
first house like what?
Like the Corden house.
Really? You remember playing games in the basement?
I don't remember that at all.
As a certified gamer, all of the boys in the neighborhood were friends with Ryan and Casey, so everybody would come to our house. Right?
I know what she's going to say.
The one like 10th of a second that I was allowed to use the TV to play video games, I would play my Barbie Dream Horses game.
Dude,
and I would ride around on my horse, and it was so fun. And then all of a sudden, everybody came over and started stealing my Barbie horse game, and all these boys were playing my Barbie game. Dude. It was just crazy. Another thing taken from a woman.
Okay, real quick. I mean, I'm not trying to correct you at all because this story is 100% true and hilarious, and I do remember jumping along in the Barbie Dream.
I remember you had to jump over
logs.
Fuck
yeah, dude, 100%.
Why would you know that?
I'm 99% sure, Joel, that this was in our living room. I don't even believe that this was. No, 100 because Joel, right when you walked into our house, to the left was our living room, right?
The TV.
Yeah, and that's 1,000% where we played. Also, fuck that.
We had a basement.
Yeah, we didn't do anything down that basement.
We don't. Yeah,
there was nothing. There was nothing that happened in that basement.
Also, fuck the girl that stole the game.
Remember the hermit crab that fell down the basement stairs and died in that house?
The hermit crab?
Yeah.
We did have hermit crabs.
I don't remember shit about hermit crabs.
Classic Jersey.
Yeah, dude. That's a good one.
But yeah, that was fun. And like, I think this is something that you guys talked about before too, but just like when we were little, like our house did seem to tend to be like the house that people would like come hang out at. So that was cool. Like having like we had that outdoor, what was that thing called? We were just talking about it, the cement thing.
Oh, we were talking about those cages. Remember those little, those tiny little red, they're not even ants, there's like little like dots that would run around. Do you remember those things?
Yeah,
this, like,
fire
giant,
ants.
like, stove or whatever, but there was like a cement stove that was built. But I just remember she saw them out there on her back porch, like a couple of them, and I was like, dude, every time I see them, I literally remember like them being on that little thing right there.
Hell yeah. I remember digging up
butterfly tree.
Dude, that dude also, I'm like, I think I told you guys this, but I drove past, it was like probably a few years ago at this point, but I remember when I flew back home, I just decided to drive past that house, and they cut that shit down, so that's a shame. But also I remember like digging up like in the dirt and like finding like clay, you know what I'm talking about, like clay.
Yeah. Called Indian clay, but it's just like color different clays.
I feel like we talked about this recently.
Probably. That was good shit, dude.
And then,
do you have any questions for us?
Ooh, there you go.
I know everything.
You know everything.
Hey, fair enough.
All right. Well, this is my first time on the podcast, right? So, what are the goals for said podcast? Because in my brain, I already know everything that happened in everybody's life, so I don't really need to listen to this podcast. But why should others listen to your podcast?
Ryle, I'll let you take this one.
To a podcast? You know, I think one of the coolest things, you know, how about this? So for one, I love listening to podcasts. Okay. I love, sometimes I'm in the gym, I'm jamming out to Killswitch Engage. Sometimes I'm listening to Kanye. Sometimes I'm listening to Hans Zimmer. And sometimes I'm listening to a podcast. Bro, I don't care, dude. So be it. Love the dude. Can't. It is what it is. The GOAT. I don't care. Clip it. And I think that, like, for one, like, you know, we're in this, we have done some pretty cool shit, and you as well. And you would think that it's, you know, like, it's easy to, like, undermine what you've done. But I think that, for one, people like watching things that they can relate to.
True.
And I think that we have a lot of very interesting paths of life that are very off the beaten path, and we're cool as fuck. So, like, you know, why else? You know, what more than that? And I think that, like, you know, me and Casey specifically have like a very good rapport. It's gonna help us, you know, strengthen our relationship. But I just think, man, you know, you think about, like, if we were to harness the energy that our mom gave us of having that ability to talk to anyone and everyone on the planet, like, I think people would enjoy listening to that, man. I think. And we're just having fun, you know. We said, what's the plans for it? Like, I don't think there are any plans, if I'm being real.
Fine.
You know, like
that's fine.
Okay, so what's your take on that?
No, that's a great question. I mean, dude, have we had an episode yet where, like, right when we finish, we're not like, dude, that was fucking awesome? Like, you know, every episode ends the exact same way. Dap, handshake, you know, right here. Like, I just think it's one of those things where the three of us have had such, you know, diverse lives, but I think we've had a lot of unique experiences, but we can make them relatable for a lot of people. I'm sure that maybe there's even people who can live vicariously through us. Maybe they've always wanted to leave their hometown and, you know, maybe didn't have the strength or the mental or the money or the whatever to do it. And maybe it's interesting to hear about how two random guys, like, were able to do it and how their experiences differentiated. I mean, dude, we talked about earlier in the pod, like, Ryan and I don't have college degrees. I'm talking to you guys right now on my MacBook Pro in my 2-bedroom apartment in fucking Orange County, California.
Okay, guy.
I'm saying that it's not like in like in a flex way. It's more in the sense that, like, this shit's possible, dude. It's possible to do really cool shit and maybe not come from the greatest of situations, but also to take advantage of how incredibly great our mom was and how cool she was and how cool the upbringing that we had and how we probably take that into everyday life. So these topics that, you know, Ryan and I go into, we are able to kind of diverge our experiences a little bit and then explain how different our lives were living, you know, 10 feet away, as, you know, Ryan put it earlier. So maybe there isn't like a specific goal for, like, fucking, like, you know, expanding the. I mean, him and I both like it's pretty fucking we do it for selfish reasons. It's just fun to fucking be able to learn a bit more about each other.
Well, yeah, duh.
But at the same time, I've been reached out to by people who I haven't talked to in years who have told me like how like cool the pod has been and like how they've been following along, or even Ryan getting shit talked to his face that we're not putting out enough content. Dude, one of the first things Ryan said to me was like, dude, I don't want to overexpose people. And now he has people walking up to him saying, "Where's the reels? Where's the TikToks?"
Yeah,
Where,
100%.
So it's just like,
content.
dude, it's just funny how like.
Nobody has an attention span anymore.
Yeah,
Advantage.
there is no such. I verbatim said to Ryan, there's no such thing as overexposure anymore. You know what I mean? The only way that this thing is gonna quote unquote like grow is if we're being thrown more in people's faces. And you have come up a lot on the pod, Joel, but like we try to like we weren't sure, like we don't want to name, we don't want to name name drop, or like we don't want to maybe talk too much, but when you agreed to appear
Listen,
on.
I have ops, so y'all need to be careful.
Shit, okay.
Yeah.
So we wanted you to appear on the show, and as our first guest, I mean, fuck, it only made sense, right?
Well, yeah, duh.
Absolutely.
So
Was it fun?
Yeah.
Real quick,
fun.
one more silly one, and then we could get out of here. Joel, what? So we just talked about childhood memories. What is the most fever dream style memory that you have of our childhood? Like one that like you almost can't even believe is real, or like it just seems so out there.
I don't know. I feel like I need an example first.
Fever dream, like an actual dream, or like?
No, he means like something that happened in our childhood that like doesn't even seem real. Like that was fever dream.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like,
dude, all right, you ready for this? Oh,
send it.
Bunko. That's what fucking like appeared. See, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that, like that kind of stuff. Bunko was like a old ass like dice game that like our mom used to like play with like people that she like grew up with, and we would go to like a specific house, like stuff like that, like
dude, I don't know why I was thinking of. Hey, this will get us canceled, but I was actually just thinking of Knobles. You know the splash thing, the sploosh thing that we went up and down like 300 million times? Dude, that was a good one, but I don't know why as I was thinking of amusement parks. Dude, do you remember we went to Six Flags and it was like Hasidic Jude?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Dude, we were off from school and our mom takes us to Six Flags and it was like...
And it was all these...
What was it? It was like unorthodox.
It was like a kid.
It was
it
orthodox or
like
unorthodox?
A big, like, field trip or something.
I don't know if it was whatever the hell it was. It was they took
or
over
a convention. I don't know,
bro.
But yeah,
that's
a fever dream. If you think
that's a good one. That's a good example.
I just remember
Knobles and being in the plays.
Yeah, dude.
Shit.
Yes,
yeah.
We have it. Like
that
DVD's got to be somewhere. I mean, I think I know where it is, but it's probably long gone. But dude, what, Ryan? Weren't you the bear? With like the honey, honey pot.
I remember us having the video, like the DVD. I don't remember the thing at all. Yeah,
dude. Yeah, that definitely happened.
Yeah, the Six Flags one was hilarious, bro. I remember them being assholes too. I remember standing in line. I was like, bro, I want to fight this kid. Shit, that's good stuff, dude. Yeah, it's hard to even think about that kind of stuff. Maybe like a trip or something like that. Yeah. Field trips. Feel like Smithsonian's and shit like that. Like
yeah.
Pretty normal.
I mean, we went to a lot of amusement parks. I think that was something that was like cool for us.
Like Dorney Park.
Six Flags close, Dorney, Knobles. Remember Six Flags, the Fright Fest?
Yes.
Little.
Did that.
Yeah.
Little scary jump.
And that one, like actress, came up and scared me. You remember that?
No.
She was like the
like a chainsaw.
She was like the bloody.
The bride
figure.
Bride,
and I was like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6. I was young. And she like came up and like singled me out and like shook this thing in my face and I cried.
Damn, okay.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Was that with Dad?
I don't know though. Yeah, that was with Dad.
I'm running through years in my head real quick.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. The Knobles one was good. I remember just going to Sploosh Mountain like 20 times in a row.
Over and over.
Do you remember when I brought my mom on Twister?
Yes, I do remember that.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I can't believe that
I
she
made her,
agreed to
at
do
the
that.
time, like 70-year-old grandma, my mom go
old
on like the
roller
fastest
coaster?
roller coaster that was
Yes.
at the amusement park,
Nice.
and she prayed the whole time. It was horrible.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
she closed her
awesome.
eyes and literally prayed the entire time. I think she had fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds like a good time.
Definitely.
I have a silly question.
Ooh.
It's not silly, but we'll call it silly. How do you guys feel that you live in California together and I live here? Not together, but both in California. Like, do you wish that I would move there? Are you happy that I'm still here? Do you think you'd come back to visit as much if I wasn't here? Like, if I was in California with you? You know? That's dynamic.
That's
Yo.
an interesting question. I mean, let me shoot first. I think, for one, I would not want you to just move anywhere for whatever reason.
Well, yeah. But, like, do you guys feel like I should move away from home? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like how you guys did that. Not that I never lived.
I mean, fair. But I think no, because I think that's Pittsburgh. Like, I think and like that's we talk about like what Casey talked about, like how can people relate to this shit? You know how many people when I first moved and stuff, and people told me, bro, I could never do that. Even people out that I communicate with on a daily basis in California now, they tell me like, I don't know how you were able to blah 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 blah.
Right.
But I think the important thing is just getting out of your house. You had that experience before us in Pittsburgh, right?
That's true.
And I had my own reasons for wanting to be out there, from gaming and all that stuff. And that's I think I think the important thing is leaving your house.
Yeah.
Leaving your home is the most important thing. Wherever that ends up being is like, who knows? I mean, to tell my friends' life stories. I have my friends who lived in Green Bay now live in North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
Friends in Indiana live in Florida. And I think that is like, that's just an important thing.
Yeah, that's like a big thing that people are saying now is like that you should move away from your hometown like in your 20s or just like when you're young.
100%.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's just an important thing to do. I would not. I would never want to think you need.
Yeah.
How about this? Do you feel like you need to move from? No. You just bought a house.
Yeah,
So
I'm good where I am.
And I don't think that I would visit any less because you're here or not. That would be probably back just because in my head I'm like, if I come back once a year, that's probably the best situation.
Yeah.
Case, go.
I mean, yeah, I could definitely give my take on it. I just want to make sure I have the question right. Like, you also, like, you said, you added to the question where you're like, if you weren't there, would we want to visit home as much? Like, was that also, like a thing, or, like...
I mean, like, I guess so. Like, if we all, we lived together almost our whole lives.
Yeah.
For a big bulk of it. So, like, if we lived together out there again, like, if I was already in California with both of you, do you think you would feel a drive still to come home and visit?
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I definitely still think yes, for sure. I mean, you're also like a massive part of that. And then you said as well, like what Ryan said is, you already had the biggest like experience of moving away before we did. So you got to experience what it was like to live away from home, live away from mom. And I'm sure that was like probably the biggest culture shock for you. So I think that was something that was definitely important for me.
But I always forget about that.
Yeah, dude.
Like that I didn't live home.
You for a long time. And you're like, that was the biggest culture shock for me. I know it was for Ryan. And I will definitely say that I'm not like upset that you don't live out here, and you also shouldn't live anywhere that you don't want to live or feel like.
Yeah, I just don't want to live there at all. It's really crazy.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's okay.
I'm so happy to visit you guys, but I just like, it's just funny to me like how different people can be with that. Like I love visiting you in California, but I have no desire to actually live there.
Hey.
And like obviously that could be due to a lot of things, but like in terms of just like the lifestyle that seems to be out there, it just does not like appeal to me at all. It's just funny that you guys feel so strongly drawn to it and I don't,
Yeah, I mean, it was
a
something
beautiful place.
Yeah, dude, like I was drawn to it like from a very like young age, dude. Like whether it be like what I saw on TV or like what I thought it would do for my career. Like I've told this story too, where like I was like 12, 13 years old, and I'm just in my computer class in middle school, not paying attention, looking up, like where could I get a broadcasting job? like for sports. And I remember the first one that popped up was ESPN, and its headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. I was like, no, it's probably, if anything, fucking worse and cold and probably more snow. So then I saw Fox Sports, and it said that their main offices were out like near LA in Anaheim. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll just move there. And then like over the years, I would just like do more research on it. But I always had an affinity to be here. I mean, dude, I'm fucking 5 minutes from the fucking beach. I'm thinking about getting an e-bike so I can just go whenever I want, you know, like it, so I don't have to worry about parking and shit. Like, dude, like it's incredible. But I think when it comes to what you and Eric have built out there, I mean, you guys are sitting in a fucking massive house, like something that a lot of people around our age like kind of deem impossible. Like, it's really impressive. It's fucking, it fucking brings a fucking tear to my eye, dude. Like, just knowing that you guys are just so good and everything is just so like homey, and how you said normal, and there's a good energy there. And I just, you shouldn't feel zero pressure or zero expectation to, you know, like want to fucking move 1 billion miles away. And I think that there are a ton of people who fall in love with, you know, like their kind of current surroundings and are close to friends or close to family. And it's just, you know, what works for them. And so I don't think you should feel any pressure at all. And I'm really just happy
I definitely
for you.
don't. It was just interesting. Like when you guys did move there, like that was like the number one question that people would ask me. It's like, oh, well, when are you going to move to California? I'm like,
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm good.
And Casey got the question from, bro, actually, you know, it's weird you remember it. It's like, I remember Rich from Chick-fil-A, when I came back, he's like, oh, when's your brother coming out there? And then, you know.
Yeah.
Less than a year later.
Dude, I remember my like going away party / New Year's Eve party. Every single one of our, you know, like family friends or like aunt, uncle who like was there was basically trying to convince me not to do it. And unfortunately, it was all for like the wrong reasons. They told me that I wasn't going to make enough money. They told me that I was going to want to move home right away. They told me it was like the biggest mistake of my life. When I told people I wanted to be a sports broadcaster, instead of saying that they were happy for me, the first thing that they would say is, oh, you know how hard it is to get that job. Like, so there was a lot of unfortunate, like there was positivity for sure from like my friends who, if anything, were sad just because like I was leaving, or my buddy Matt like said like I didn't want to believe you were moving there. But then there was also a lot of weird like, yeah, like I wouldn't do that if I were you, or oh, you're just trying to be like Ryan, or oh, you're trying to like, dude, we have all lived very independent lives and have had very different interests for what we have thought our lives were going to be. And I feel that if I had to take a guess for the three of us, I think that we're probably, you know, we're probably the happiest we've ever been, like especially with where we are and the lives we've created for ourselves. And, you know, even me, like, being 26 years old and being still, like, the fucking baby. Like, dude, I built this shit, dude. Brick by brick. You know what I mean? There's a reason why we are all so successful. And I do think that, you know, it comes from, you know, our upbringing and, you know, and having, you know, a great belief system. But I think the trust between the three of us and, you know, the dynamic that we've been able to create for the last, you know, 29 years, I think is just it's a test to the people that we are. It's a test to the people who raised us. And I think it's just I couldn't be more grateful to be having you guys as people to look up to every day.
Ditto.
Beautiful case. Beautiful way to end it, man. You know, Joel, thank you for being the first guest on this pod. It's been so real. I'm Ryan.
I'm Casey.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.